All right, our test number 8 is for this Thursday, April 2nd, and right before spring break. So I want to get this test in before then, and so you have a week to prepare for it. So starting out with fill in the blank, boredom. Boredom goes in the blank is our inability to think on a larger scale. The true mark of a Christian is how you live at home. Home goes in the blank there. What happened yesterday is history. What happens tomorrow is a mystery. What happens today makes a difference. So mystery and history go in the blank there. Nature forms us. Sin deforms us. Schools inform us. Only Jesus can transform us. So nature deforms, inform, and transform goes in the blank there. And you will have a word bank, but not all of the words will be in there. I just want to let you know that. I feel like you guys, you need to study better. So in order to do that, there won't be all the words in the word bank. You need to know your stuff. We magnify the things we need to ignore while we ignore the things we need to magnify. And ignore and magnify go in the blank there. We become what we worship. True worship will make us more like Jesus. So worship goes in the blank there. True worship is not just singing, but is acknowledging Jesus as Lord in every area of our lives. Area goes in the blank there. If God isn't working in your life, you will want to know less about the garbage and more about His grace. Garbage and grace go in the blank. The best reward of the Christian life is not going to heaven, passing through the pearly gates, or walking on its golden streets. The best reward of heaven is Jesus Himself, and reward goes in the blank there. 5 things forgiveness is. This is fill in the blank, and it's listing, but it's fill in the blank. So here's what you need to know on that. Forgiveness is a matter of the heart. And a pure heart will forgive. Pure heart goes in the blank there. We should forgive as God forgave us. That's based on Colossians 3:13. Forgive goes in the blank. Jesus is our example of true forgiveness. He truly forgave those who crucified Him, and He forgives us. Example goes in the blank there. We have no excuses not to forgive. Excuses goes in the blank there. How do you know if you have forgiven someone? When those emotions that you had when they did you wrong are no more. So emotions goes in the blank there. What keeps us from listening to Jesus? 3 Ds. Distractions, other people's demands, and ungodly desires. So make sure you know those 3 things. Distractions, other people's demands, and ungodly desires. All right, we have some matching. We took a look at Psalm 139 at one point, and the solution to our sin is confession based on Psalm 139, 23 and 24. Confession is B, see if there is any offensive way in me. Guidance, lead me in the way of everlasting. And C, examination, search me, O God, and know my heart. So that's what goes, that's the matching we have. God's design for marriage, 3 things based on Matthew 18. 3 things marriage is God's design. Between a man and a woman, a covenant before God, and for a lifetime. So those 3 things are God's design for marriage, God's standard, what He sets up in His Word, based on Matthew 18. What are the 2 greatest commandments? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Now those 2. The Pharisees were characterized by 2 qualities. When we talked about Jesus giving the Pharisees the 6 woes, and the 2 qualities are greed and self-indulgence. So know that. And names Jesus used to address the Pharisees while He was on this earth. He called them hypocrites. He called them whitewashed tombs. He called them snakes or a brood of vipers. And He called them blind guides. So know those 4 titles that Jesus used to address the Pharisees. And there might be 10-point question on what you've learned these past 9 weeks of, or last 4 or 5 weeks in class. So be sure to be ready to write a paragraph that shows that you've been listening and you're applying what you've learned from this class so that we can be more like Jesus. So that's pretty much it. And I hope you have a great spring break. But before you have a great spring break, let's study and do well in the test.